Alright, welcome back to the Crabby Dice. Today we're going to look at the second expansion to Abyss called Leviathans. Alright, so this one's sort of going to mix up the game a bit with this Leviathan board. So in the box you're going to get the board, you're going to get the Leviathan cards, a couple of dice, the Leviathan health chips, the Leviathan tokens, and new lords that sort of deal with the Leviathan board. You're going to get allies which will help you fight through the Leviathans. And finally you're going to get the Scourge of Abyss, which is this pretty awesome mini. Alright, so for this video, I'm going to go through the setup, I'm going to go through the rules for this expansion, then I'll come back at the end for my thoughts. Alright, let's go. Alright, so you're going to set up the game exactly like the base game with a couple of changes. First, obviously the threat track with the threat marker, throw these back in the box, we're not going to play with them. Also, you are going to go through the Lord deck and remove the Tamer, which dealt with that board, and we're not using it, so let's get rid of it. Alright, after that, let's set up a few of our decks. So all the lords that come in the expansion, just shuffle them into the base game. By the way, you can tell that it's from the expansion because of the L on it. Alright, and all of these deal with the Leviathan board, so just throw them in. Alright, now before dealing with the allies, what you're going to do is you're going to go take one level 1 crab for each player and give it to them. So if you're playing a 3-player game, take 3 of them and give 1 to every single player. And then what you're going to do is shuffle in the new deck of allies into the base deck of allies. Alright, these are all going to have some special abilities at the top that we're going to talk about during the rules section. Alright, after that, let's deal with our Leviathan board. Alright, so to get started, what you can do is you're going to take the 2 dice, you're going to give it a good roll. Alright, you're going to flip over a Leviathan and put it at that number. So you're going to see here the numbers on the board. So every time you roll these dice, they represent the numbers on the board. So the first Leviathan is going to go in space 9, which is 9 over here. Now, whenever you add a Leviathan on the board, what you're going to do is you're going to take a little health chit and put it on the topmost value on the left over here. Alright. Last thing for setup, you do have the 2 stacks of Leviathan, of sort of monster tokens. You have the Leviathan ones here and the regular ones. Keep them separate, but keep them available for all players. And lastly, you can just put all the health chits in a little pile next to the board over here. We're pretty much set up. Let's go to rules. Alright, let's talk about the rules to this expansion. So this expansion makes the gameplay exactly like it would the base game, except for when a monster comes out, you're going to treat it completely different than that threat board that used to be there. Alright, so you're just going to play the game like normal, but when you're dealing with the monster, we're going to look at this board and see what's up. Okay, so first change is no matter what you do with the monster, instead of keeping it on the track, it gets discarded to the discard pile. So that's a very important change. Don't forget that step. Alright, because there are more monsters in the deck. Okay. Alright, now, just like in the base game, when you encounter a monster card, you have 2 choices. You either continue going down the depths, or you go fight a monster. So let's talk about all the rules about ignoring it by going down into the depths again. Alright, if you do that, alright, what you need to do, it's sort of like a push your luck game. Alright, you're gonna take both dice, you're gonna roll them, and you're gonna see if that number is available on the threat board. Alright, so right now you see that they are mostly all available because we're just starting the game. But if I were to roll a 7, something completely different was gonna happen. But because I rolled a 3, you're gonna reveal a new Leviathan. You're gonna put on the 3 slot, and you're gonna put a health chit always on the top most health marker on the left. Alright, and then you just ignore the monster and you just move forward. Remember, when you ignore the monster, it still gets discarded to the discard pile. Alright, now, if you rolled a number that was already there, so let's say I rolled a 7, what's going to happen is, you're going to replace that Leviathan with the one on top of the deck, except the one that's being displaced is going to attack you, which could be very painful. Alright, so this one's going to attack you. You're going to get the effects of the icon in the bottom right of the card, and then you're going to discard this to the discard pile, and then you're going to replace it with the new one on top of the deck. Don't forget to always add the marker there. Now let's take 5 seconds to talk about the different things you can lose here in the bottom right. So you can lose pearls, you can lose wounds by gaining wounds, not losing wounds. These are just -1 chits, -1 points at the end of the game. Right? So the more of these you have, the more negatives you're going to have. You can lose allies, you can lose pearls, and you can lose free lords. Now for all of those 3 different options, if you don't have enough, well then you lose as much as you can, and then you ignore the rest. So if it says lose 3 pearls but you only have 1, well then you just lose 1 pearl and you ignore the rest. Alright, so that's what happens when you ignore the monster card. Now let's talk about if you want to fight the monster, which is fighting a Leviathan. Alright, so for that, let's look at a Leviathan card, for example. And let's go through the anatomy of a monster card. A Leviathan card. Alright, so this we already talked about is the attack that it's going to do to you if you ignore the monster card and you roll that number again. Okay? Next, you're going to look at the top left. And to fight a Leviathan, you need to discard exactly one ally of one of these two colors. Alright, red appears on all the Leviathans, so red is sort of like a wild card to always attack a Leviathan. And the second option you have is on the left hand side here, so here I can discard a green or a red. Alright, and what you're going to do when you fight a Leviathan, what you're trying to do actually, is you're trying to get a total of this amount or more. Okay, so what you're going to do is, let's just say I want to fight this Leviathan. I'm going to discard a 1 red, or better yet, if I had a 3 green in my hand, I'll discard a 3 green. And you're going to take 1 die, and you're going to roll it. Alright, you're going to add the total of the die plus the total of the card, and see if you equal or exceed the number there. If you do, you're going to get the reward on the right, and you're going to move the health marker down. Well, if this guy only has 1 health, you basically killed the Leviathan. Alright. Now, if you don't exceed the amount, what's going to happen is you pretty much just ended your turn, and you're just going to get 1 pearl as a compensation. Okay, but in this case I did succeed. So what's going to happen, I'm going to get 1 monster token. So I get to take a monster token from the stack of my choice. So there's the old ones from the base game, which are just points, or there's a new one, you can see the L here, which have a bunch of different things. You can get a pearl, stack of allies, some keys, so on and so on, just different things you can get. Alright, if you did kill the ally also, you get to keep this in your tableau in front of you. There could be some lords that deal with how many you killed and so on and so on. Alright, now we do have to look at one specific case. If your total exceeds both numbers or multiple numbers in a row, then you get to wound it multiple times. So let's say in my total I rolled a 10. For example, well, 10 is 6 plus 4. Alright, even if I rolled a 12, it would be 6 plus 4, it's still 10. So I would have killed it because you get to damage it along the way. Now, if my total was 9, well, it would still only go down once. But if it was 10, it would go 6 and then 4 off the thing. I would kill it. I would get the bonus, both bonuses, and then I'd put this in front of me. Okay, now, when you're attacking a Leviathan, alright, very important rule, you only ever attack 1 Leviathan. Even if this whole tableau is full, you're picking 1 Leviathan that you're attacking, and you're going to discard 1 card to roll the die and attack. Alright, but after doing that attack, you can keep trying to attack the same Leviathan as long as you can keep discarding ally cards. Alright, so as long as I can keep discarding red or purple cards, I can keep attacking this Leviathan until I kill it. Alright, so you can keep getting bonuses here, and eventually you'll take this in front of you. Alright, but if you don't want, as long as you attack, and whether you damage it or not, if you don't want to continue, well then still that's the end of your turn. Okay, very specific rule. If at any point in the game you attack a Leviathan, you kill it, and there's no Leviathans left on this board, alright, before ending your turn, you're going to roll both dice, and you're going to add a new Leviathan to the board. But as long as there's Leviathans there, you sort of don't have to do that. Okay, so that's pretty much all you need to know about Leviathans, alright? So you're just attacking them to try to get the bonuses on the cards. Now, let's just talk about these 2 types of ally cards that are introduced into this expansion, which add the dice sort of abilities here when you're attacking Leviathans. Alright, so if there's a double die here, alright, so if you're using this card to attack the Leviathan, instead of rolling 1 die, you're going to roll both dice. So you're going to add the total with the card, and that's your strength that you're attacking the Leviathan. Alright, the one with the pearl works a bit different. You're still only going to roll 1 die. Alright, but after adding the strength of the ally with the die, you can pay a pearl to add a +1 multiple times. So you can just keep paying. So if you wanted, you can add 10 pearls to add +10 to your roll if you wanted. Sorry, a couple of extra things. First, let's talk about this Scourge of Abyss statue here. So this guy just represents 5 points at the end of the game for whoever has him. Alright, and who has this guy is going to be the person who's killed the most Leviathans during the game at that point. Alright, so the first person to kill Leviathan is going to get the statue, and he's going to hold on to it until somebody else has killed more Leviathans than that player. So let's say he killed 1, but then somebody else killed 2. Well, then the statue will go to that player who killed 2. And let's say that player who killed 2 killed 3, well, he would keep it. And then somebody else killed 4, it would go to that player. And so on and so on. Alright, so it just passes around, and at the end, he's 5 points. Now, the other thing that I did forget to mention, very, very important, is that there is a hand limit now with this expansion. So you're going to see here, we have 12 cards of allies maximum from now on. Alright, in the base game, you can have as many cards as you like, but in this one, you're going to be at 12. Now, very important, at the end of your turn, when you're calculating those 12 allies, you can pay 1 pearl per card to keep it in your hand. So let's say you had 14 cards and you wanted to keep all 14, you can pay 2 pearls to the general supply and you can keep those 2 extra cards. But then you have to do that round after round. So if the next turn you didn't waste your allies yet, you still have to pay more pearls to keep them. Alright, quick thoughts time here for the Leviathan expansion. In my opinion, this is an auto-include in every single Abyss game that I play from now on. Alright, I absolutely love this expansion. To me, the worst part of the base game, or most non-thematic part, was that threat board. It was sort of anticlimactic. You know, a monster would show up, you're just looking at the bonus. Do I want that bonus or do I just want to keep continuing? That didn't add any danger to the game. It wasn't thematic as well. You auto-win every single time. You know, it was a bit bleh. Alright, now this board does add a bunch of danger and some cool mechanics. Alright, so when a monster comes out, you're either gonna press your luck, so it does add another layer of pressing your luck to the game, which already has an awesome press your luck mechanism over here. So you can run by the monsters and maybe get damaged by them, but then you're taking a chance, especially if there's monsters on the 6, 7, and 8, then you know it's all up to what you roll. Or you go and fight a monster and get a bunch of juicy rewards for it. Alright, so the rewards are great. Other strategic elements that it adds like another layer of options. Alright, you know, any expansion that just gives you options and other things to do are always great. So now instead of just collecting allies to get lords and you're just looking at lords, well now, you know, you might get an ally just because it has the double die bonus, which is awesome. Or you might pick up allies to attack a specific Leviathan out there because you think you're gonna take him on, or you like his bonus, and so on and so on. So, you know, overall, fantastic expansion. I also love these new tokens. You can get a ton of pearls, you can get a key, you can get a whole stack of allies. So lots of variety, lots of strategic depth to the whole monster section that wasn't there before. Great expansion. I think you'll enjoy it. We'll see you in the next one. Later.